Hello lovelies, it's Brianna. So it has been such a long time since I've filmed, so I am a little out of practice. So I will try to get through this without like flustering too much. But today we are going to be, or I'm going to be doing a wear test / review for you guys over Benefit's new Boi-ing Cakeless Concealer. I'm looking for the box, sorry. Here's the box. Now I just want to let you guys know that I was sent this product free to test out, but if you're interested in purchasing it, it is only $22. So it's not like, I don't think that's very expensive. I'm not even gonna lie, I haven't purchased like a higher end concealer before. I only really buy drugstore concealers, but $22 sounds reasonable. I don't know. You guys can tell me if that's reasonable. I don't think it's that bad considering this is a lot and you don't use a lot. So there's that. But let's go ahead and get into it. I did want to kind of, like I said, I'm going to do like a wear test. So I'm going to try to keep this on for 12 hours. That is my goal. Goal is 12 hours. Or as close to 12 hours as possible. And the reason for that is that the claims for this concealer is that it is a 24-hour long wear concealer. I don't wear makeup for 24 hours unless for some reason I fall asleep in it, which is really hard for me to do because it's not, like after a while I can start to feel that I'm wearing makeup and like it's not comfortable. So I definitely can't wear this for 24 hours, but I feel like 12 hours is pretty reasonable. So we're gonna go for that. That's what we're gonna aim for. I will, throughout the video, I will let you guys know the timestamps. Right now, it's 9:30. I have had this on since 8 o'clock, or 8:40. 8:40. Or maybe, I don't know. I told you, you guys will know. I won't. I'm pretty sure I got done at like 9, right? Like right at 9 or like 9:10. I filmed this intro like 3 times now, so bear with me. So I will just be letting you guys know throughout the video, like as I film, how long I've been wearing it, but 12 hours is the goal. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the concealer before we get into the application. Claims for the concealer is that it's a full coverage liquid concealer that won't look cakey. And it is supposed to be 24-hour long wear, like I said, and also waterproof. But I have worn this concealer a couple times already. I think at the time of filming this, I've worn it about 5 or 6 times. And I've worn it on like a broad spectrum of times and like lengths and ways. One of the first ways that I actually wore it was without anything else on my face, no foundation, no primer, nothing, just the concealer. I've worn it with a full face of makeup. I've worn it with a little bit of makeup. I've worn it for 30 minutes. I've worn it for, I think the longest time that I've worn it was maybe 5 to 6 hours. So I feel like I have a decent idea of the way that the foundation wears and looks. So that's kind of why I'm filming this video now. I wanted to wear it like several times before I reviewed it, because personally I know that when I get something new, I will love it immediately and I will overlook every flaw that it has. I've given positive reviews over items that I've just used, like in the sense of like first impression videos that I think I've definitely filmed. I don't know that I've uploaded them, but like first impression things, like whenever I would have Ipsy, like I would try it and immediately would fall in love with it, and then I'd go back and use it later and hate it. So I didn't want to do that with this product, obviously. So I have worn it several times. So I guess I want to show you guys. It's, first of all, it's really cute, like super cute packaging. It looks like a little pencil. It is just a standard doe foot applicator, so that's what the applicator looks like. It's pretty nice. It picks up a ton of product, like that is so much product. So every time I've used it, I've just taken it and like wiped it away, and that's still a ton, like and the reason why it's so much is because of like how thick this concealer is. Like, it is so thick, and not in a bad way. So it's supposed to be full coverage. I have said before, like, and I'll say again throughout the video, I don't think this is full coverage. I do think it's a medium coverage though, because when you kind of blend it in, it thins out a little. It doesn't feel heavy though, so it's not like thick and heavy. I don't think it's cakey. Out of all the times I've used it, I've never really felt that it was cakey. And one of my favorite things is, like, look at that. Like, you can barely see it anymore. It almost blends away, like it almost disappears, but it doesn't. Like, when I look at my hand, I can still see it. There's, like, and if I look closely there, like, you can tell there's obviously makeup, because the back of my hand is not this flawless looking ever. But it blends away and, like, melds into the skin, and it leaves, like, a really natural looking finish. And so I do think if the shade that you get is like a good match for your skin tone, I definitely think this is something that you could wear on its own, like without foundation, as spot concealing. For me, and I don't know how many times I've said this by now in the video, but for me, it is it's too light for that. It's perfect for, like, brightening for me, but it's a little light for me to wear just, like, on its own without any foundation. But I really do love the way that it blends in. Like I said, I don't think it's cakey. Out of all the times I've used it, I've never found it to be cakey. I don't think it's full coverage though. I definitely would say it's medium to full, because I guess, like, it really does depend on what you're trying to cover. Smaller spots or spots that aren't as red cover really well, but there are some spots, like you'll see in the application, I have some spots that are pretty red, and it doesn't really cover them very well. So, doesn't cover them bad, but it doesn't cover them, like, fully. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and watch the application, and I will check back in with you later today. Okay, so it is 8:41 right now, and I have already applied some primer. I just put this on every time. This is it's the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer. I've got that on, let it sit for a little bit, and we're gonna go straight in. Now, I've used this product a couple times before already, so I know that this color, like the shade, is a little light for me to spot conceal with over foundation, but I really want to show you guys how it spot conceals. So I'm going to put it under my foundation first for that purpose. As you can see, I'm sorry, my mirror is right here, so if I'm looking over here, that's why. You can see I have some, like, spots. This is just kind of redness. I know it looks like pimples, but it's honestly not. It's just like red spots. And then I do have a pimple here, and I had one up here, and then a couple right here, but everything else is kind of red blotchiness. So I'm just gonna take the concealer directly from the wand and just kind of pop this on. Those spots are the ones that I want to conceal. Let's see, there's one. And I know, like I said, I know this shade is gonna be way too light without, like, putting anything else on, but this is just to kind of show you guys. So you can see it's pretty thick, and I'm just gonna use my beauty blender and kind of buff it out. Now, like, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't completely cover them. It claims to be full coverage, but from every time I've used it, I would say it's probably closer to a medium coverage, and that's just like one coat. Something I have not tried, to be quite honest, is building it. So I feel like it did really good with these over here. But these are more red, so let's see. Oh yeah, that's not bad. It builds up. And like you can see, it's way lighter than my skin. So for me personally, this shade I definitely, because something that I found with this is the way it like blends into your skin is really nice, and it looks really natural, almost to the point where if you really don't want to wear a lot of makeup, you just want to kind of conceal like some redness, like spots, you could easily use this if the shade was correct for you. I couldn't, because this shade, I picked a shade that was better for brightening, so it's a way too light for spot concealing on its own, but it works decently well. Like, that's not bad. So I'm gonna start by going in with my foundation, and then which I'm just gonna use the Maybelline Fit Me, and it's in the shade 112. So I'm just gonna apply this off camera because it doesn't have anything to do with the concealer. So, and then I'll get back to you guys when I go to apply the rest of the concealer. Okay, so I've applied my foundation, and the concealer sits pretty well underneath it, except for this spot. This spot, just as soon as I started applying my foundation, the concealer just wiped away. But every other spot, it sits pretty nicely. You know, it's not like I said, I wouldn't consider it full coverage, because these aren't like super raised, but so like I feel like, and these weren't very red, so I feel like that's why it covered those pretty well. But over here, like this one was pretty red. This one, I guess you it's hard to tell if it's just the camera, because for me, I can still see all of these spots. Like, this is very red still. It doesn't even look like it was covered. That could be from wiping away from the foundation. This one definitely wiped away. But this one doesn't look as red anymore, but I can definitely still see it, you know? So I definitely wouldn't say full coverage for that. So I'm going to go in now, and I'm going to brighten with this. So I just I'm going to wipe off, because this picks up a ton of product. So I'm just going to like wipe off the excess. So you can see like how light this is for me. So it's not ideal for spot concealing, but that's just the shade that I chose. So like I said, if you can get a shade that matches better, you know, obviously it will work better. And before I actually finish, I'm going to blend this out, because something else I noticed with this is that it sets, and it sets really quickly. So before I do large areas, I like to blend it in. But the concealer, it just like, it blended in really nicely, and it almost, it looks like it's skin. I don't know, like from here it does. I don't know what you guys are seeing, it's hard to tell. But for me, like looking into the mirror, it definitely just looks like it kind of just blended in, like melded in with the foundation and everything. Almost to a point where it looks like it blends away, but like I know it didn't blend away because I can see the brightening effect that it left. But like that's how well it blends. So that's pretty nice. I am gonna put a little down my nose. I'm gonna try to cover this spot again, because that one is really red for me. That's better, but see, it's definitely still noticeable. I am gonna set this with powder. I'm just using Airspun. Nothing fancy. And that's pretty much it at the moment. Like I said, it's hard to tell what you guys see on the camera, because the camera does have that blurring effect, and my lighting is not that great because I'm using natural lighting. But for me, like looking into my mirror, it doesn't, like it doesn't really look cakey. It does look like it's kind of clinging to some dry patches, like right in here, that I honestly didn't know that I had. But that could be powder. So after I let my face set for a little bit, I always go back in and buff away all the extra powder, so we'll see. I don't know, it doesn't look too bad at the moment. Like I said, I definitely don't think this is full coverage. Like, these spots look to me pretty much gone. But my really, like, red ones, I can definitely still see them poking through. So, definitely more of a medium coverage. That was the first time I ever built it, so I don't really want to say if it's buildable or not, because just because it didn't do it one time, you know, who knows. But yeah, so I'm going to go in and finish with the rest of my face and then check in as far as time goes, let you guys know some of my thoughts after I finish with everything else, and then I'll check in throughout the day. Okay, so it is exactly 9:08 and I just finished applying the rest of my face. Sorry, my hair's wet, so it's like getting in my face, it's irritating. One thing I want to point out, my eyebrows look so much darker, for me, at least from what I'm seeing, than they do in person, so keep that in mind. And also my makeup does look way like blurred, way more blurred than it actually is. So the camera is definitely gonna kind of play tricks with the makeup, so I'll just tell you what I'm seeing in the mirror, and you have to take my word for it, because I don't know, like, it probably won't reflect well as what the camera picks up. But so I did finish applying everything, and something I noticed is that it kind of both the concealer and the foundation kind of buffed away from my nose right here in that area I told you guys before. I felt like it was clinging to dry patches. It wasn't clinging to a dry patch. I did like buff away, it was just excess powder, but it definitely did break away right here. And like I said, I have worn this multiple times by now, and that has never happened before. It's never broken away like that, especially not right as I was doing my makeup. So I'm gonna attribute that to skin problems, not the concealer itself. But other than that, it looks really nice. Like, it doesn't look cakey right now. We have a ways to go. We're reviewing this all day. It doesn't look cakey. It is kind of accentuating my lines right in my inner corner, but to be honest, anything I put down there does that, and if you're not like directly in my face, it's not really something you see. But other than that, it blended away really nicely. Like, it looks like skin. Honestly, it just kind of, it blends and looks like skin. Looks really nice. So we'll see. I am gonna be wearing this for the rest of the day, kind of check back in with you guys periodically to let you know about like wear time. But yeah, so I am gonna wear this for the rest of the day, and I will be checking back in with you guys periodically to let you see how it's holding up. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Okay, so it is currently 4:12. So it's been about 6 hours since I put everything on, and I wanted to check in. Sorry, mirror. So it is still holding up pretty well. I started to like, I don't know if like my eyes were watering at one point, but I've noticed like I've got mascara running in my outer corners. So there's that. But the concealer itself seems to be holding up okay for the most part. It is starting to crease under my eyes. I'm trying to see if I can show you guys that. You can see it's really starting to crease pretty badly under my eyes. And we are at 6 hours. I wouldn't say that it's like terribly noticeable though. Like from far away, I don't know, it doesn't really look that bad. I'm also kind of just distracted by the mascara though. So overall, at this point, I think it still looks okay. I think you could definitely keep wearing it for a little bit longer. Honestly, if I really wanted to touch it up that bad, I could just go in with my sponge and just kind of like blend it in some more. Like I said earlier, my face doesn't really get very oily throughout the day, so I don't really have that issue. I think it looks fine, honestly. So yeah, so I will try to check back in with you guys probably closer to 9 o'clock, unless I see like a noticeable, like a big noticeable change. But yeah. Okay, so I want to apologize for the lighting and the sound. I have a fan going, and I'm in my bedroom because this is the best lighting I can get because it is super late, super dark. Currently 8:30. I know I was gonna try to go to 9, but I'm so tired and I'm starting to get a headache from, I think I'm just getting a headache from my hair being up all day, but like my makeup's starting to bother me, so I want to go ahead and get this off. So I figured I'd go ahead and check in with you guys. It's been like right under 12 hours. I believe when I got done doing my makeup, it was like 9:14, 9:15, something like that. And I think when I started my makeup, I was like at 8:40, so right under 12 hours, but close enough. Grab my mirror and look. So not much has really changed since I checked in with you guys. Honestly, I need a better light, so I'm gonna turn my flashlight on. Not much has really changed. It's still like, sorry, I'm so sorry for that light. It's still creasing really badly under my eyes. I have a lot of texture there though, so I'm not like too terribly surprised. It's definitely, like I was explaining earlier, like my inner corners, I don't know, I guess my inner corners get oily because everything is breaking away from there. You can kind of tell that I'm getting a little oily. I don't know if you can tell, like I can feel it, but I don't know if, like right on my nose, like everything's starting to kind of come off here. But like as far as where the concealer was, the concealer does seem to be holding up, and like I said, like you can see like the side of my, I'm sorry I'm using the viewfinder, I know that's annoying, but if you see right here, like this is all come off really, and it's coming off on my hand, but the concealer is like still staying there. So even though it is creasing, like it's still there, and it's my foundation that's coming off around it, which is not very pretty looking. But yeah, see that? But this looks fine, and like even touching this, like that's not budging, you know what I mean? Like nothing's coming off on my hands, or some of my highlighters coming off, but like the concealer itself isn't moving. So you know, like I said before, the creasing, honestly, if it does bother you, if you take a sponge, you can, you know, go back over it, just buff it in a little. Honestly, you could probably use your fingers to buff it in, but it's not like super, super noticeable to the point where I feel like people are going to be pointing it out. I do think that as far as like the 24-hour claim, I would probably say this would last you for 24 hours, to be quite honest. The fact that like I can literally touch my nose and my foundation come off, and like I can see my foundation coming off on my finger, but then if I take like a clean finger and go under here, like I don't know if you can tell, like foundation, and then there's nothing there except for highlighter. I don't know, I'm so tired, you guys. So I guess my final thoughts, if I had to put final opinions in, do I think the concealer is worth it? I'm gonna go with yes. I think I would recommend it. I would definitely recommend it. If you're used to spending $20 on a concealer, then yes, highly recommend it. It's a good concealer. It lasts, it stays. I love the way that it blends. I think it blends so beautifully, and like I was saying before, if you can find a color that matches your skin tone really well, like maybe you don't like brighten conceal a lot, and you're a person who doesn't really like wearing makeup a lot, if you can find a color that matches your undertones really well, I would definitely recommend just getting it simply for spot concealing, because I think that it would work really, really well on its own. I don't think the price point is ridiculous. Like I said, I don't really buy high-end concealers, But I do think that the price point is comparable to others. I haven't used others. I want to stress that. So I can't compare this because I like Tarte Shape Tape. I know is a big one that everyone's in love with. I can't compare this to Tarte Shape Tape. I can only compare it to what I've used, and what I have used, this is definitely a million times better than what I've used. The concealers that normally I use the Maybelline Fit Me concealer for spot concealing, and then I use, spot concealing, normally just to conceal a little bit of redness, because honestly, it does not cover spots. It will mute out a little bit of redness, but that's about it. And I normally use it for like highlighting like the bridge of my nose, and sometimes like my forehead. And then under my eyes, I really like using I think it's the Revlon, like the Instant Age Rewind one. But once again, that's just an under eye concealer. This concealer I feel is perfect for not just under eye and brightening, but it's also really, really good for spot concealing because of the coverage, because the coverage is medium to full. I don't really think, if you have like really, really bad spots, I'm not sure that you would get the payoff you were wanting. It's possible that you could build it. Like I said, I tried building it earlier and it did build up well, like up here on this one. It like applying more didn't rub it away. But I don't know that it increased the coverage that much. And I don't really want to say that it didn't. I don't want to like talk bad about it in that aspect, because like I explained earlier, that's the first time I've ever done it, and I don't think your first time doing something is enough to determine whether or not something's good or bad. So I mean, unless it's like obviously bad. I feel like I'm rambling, but overall I would definitely recommend this foundation if you're looking for something that is going to last you a long time and is going to leave you without looking like you're wearing a ton of makeup. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's really all I have to say, you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. It's so late. I'm so sorry that I'm so like rambly. I will link down below the concealer, and I'll link it on Sephora and Ulta, I guess. And then I think that's it. I'm so out of it, gosh. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Like I said, if you guys have any questions about it, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to answer them to the best that I can. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It's just nice to see it. If you have any like videos you want to see, let me know. I don't know how often I'll film. I want to get back into it, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed week. Bye bye.